Facebook. This is Laylis here. My first video. So I want to tell you about my channel, what it's going to mean, what's going to happen. So bear with me. Anyway, I am a woman of a certain age in New York. I'm born and raised here. Been here all my life. I have traveled, so I haven't been stuck here. Anyway, I'm an only child. I don't have any brothers or sisters, and for some reason, my whole life, I just haven't been able to have friends. Like, I really don't know what it's like to have friends to just go out with and hang out with. I've always had that problem. I consider myself a pretty attractive person. I would say actually above average, possibly. Um, I'm very quiet. I'm extremely shy. I keep to myself. I'm very creative, uh, politically minded, and a lot of other things. But I've made a couple of mistakes in life, a lot of detours that held up my purpose in life. And now I'm kind of the same position I've been in for pretty much all my life. Me and my mom lived together, struggling to pay bills. Um, I work at a job that I make 13 an hour. I steal tissue just so I could save money. That's 10 cents a month that I can save on buying tissue because living in New York is very expensive. Because of Obamacare, I'm forced to pay $189 a month that I cannot afford. Before I was paying sliding scale at $20 per visit, but thanks to Obama, I'm forced to pay $189 when I don't even go to the doctors that much. I can't because I work constantly. I'm salaried, but I'm only salaried because they know that this job requires long hours and they don't want to pay overtime. So it's really sucky. I've had a couple of relationships. None of them were good. My first relationship, I wasted my best years, my 20s, with a guy who really loves me and I loved him. But as the years went by, he changed and I found out he was a cokehead and an alcoholic. And he lied about his age. Ended up finding out he was 14 years older than me. Did I mention he stole my virginity after he told me that he was 14 years older than me? Well, later on, I went to be in another relationship. I found somebody on Craigslist, and he was okay, but it didn't really go anywhere because he was way younger than me at this point, and it was a waste of time. And then my third relationship, I met a guy, and he was a psychopath. He was broke. He came from another country. I figured at this point I'm getting old. I should get married, so I married him to keep him in the country and for us to be in love. But he used me because he just wanted to stay here a couple of more months to do his business. Yeah. So he basically, I got very sick, went to the doctors, came back home, and he was on the phone to tell me that the girlfriend he had in his country is there, and he didn't really find me all that attractive, and he didn't really care about me that much, but he thought I was interesting. So, of course, I was completely and utterly destroyed from that. And believe it or not, because of this relationship, I lost a very, very good job with the government, basically smearing me any chance of getting a job pretty much anywhere. So, for 2 years, I was on unemployment, couldn't find any job because that job basically was my reference. Uh, so I got online. I talked to people, went on several dates. Nothing worked. I met another guy from probably from the same country. I met this guy, and things were great. I ended up saving all my money. Went over there to meet him. He came to see me actually. We had a wonderful time. we Skyped every day. I went over there and we spent time there. And I met his family, and his town was absolutely beautiful. And I could see myself living there because America, I wanted to leave. I just felt like I'm not comfortable in this country. And where he lived was absolutely perfection and beautiful. So I went there, we talked, everything was pretty much great. And for some reason or another, don't know why, um, things kind of I started seeing the real him. He was married, but he was divorcing his ex-wife, and she got in the way. She dropped the kid off. I ended up watching the kid. He would act like a little baby every time she would tell him to do something. At this point, we were together long distance, a year and a half. So when I was there, I asked him if he loved me. He just looked at me. He said, "I don't want to say what I don't believe it, what I don't believe at the moment." So I got very upset, and it was what it was. My mother, she made up something, and I ended up leaving early. I never saw him again. I had bought a couple of things that I wanted sent to me. He said he would send it to me. He never did. Um, so that was interesting, and he ended up making up some story about me. He thought I was cheating, and I told him I was not. He wasn't really talking to me like I wanted him to. And to make the long story short, we stopped talking. I ended up contacting him months later. We started talking back and forth. He was really nice. He was telling me that he was traveling somewhere. He wasn't really detailed oriented. We got back on Skype and we talked back and forth. And then one day I see on his WhatsApp a picture of a girl kissing him. I asked him who the girl was. He's like, "Oh, this was a woman I'm dating. I like her." So, of course, I was upset because he was acting like we were going to get back on track. So I was very hurt by that. As a matter of fact, when we were in a relationship, I always asked him, "How come you don't put my pictures up on Facebook?" And he was like, "Oh, I just don't feel like it." I would ask him several times. He would never do it. And years later, he has her pictures up on Facebook. He has her pictures everywhere. I did troll on his Facebook. Anyway, 2 years went by. I didn't date anybody. I was just very hurt and just reflecting on all my horrible relationships. I decided I just didn't want anything to do with anyone, and I really kind of gave up on relationships. There was a guy who went to my high school, and I would talk to him back and forth on Facebook, and I didn't think anything about him. I didn't find him attractive. Anyway, because of another friend that I met on the internet, it didn't work out, and I suffer from loneliness. I have no friends. I always have to get friends from Facebook, and they're all crazy. And I mean, not Facebook, from Craigslist, and they're always crazy or they have an issue. So we're friends for like 3 months, and then it doesn't work. So I have nobody to hang out with or go anywhere with, and I'm tired of it. This relationship didn't work, so I was bored. So I contacted him because he kept on asking me out. I wasn't interested. We went out, and I was really impressed by him, and I liked him. And he wasn't my type because he has 2 kids by 2 different babies' mamas and all this stuff, and he wasn't my type. Good-looking guy, but just not my type. Anyway, but his personality won me over, and we had a really good time. And I started to fall for him. We got together, and I started to fall in love with him. He was a very sweet guy. He makes me laugh. The best sex ever. Well, the story goes on. So part 2.